Okay, so we're going to start off with ICD-10, talking a little bit about how the book is set up. It's very similar to the CPT manual, guys. You're going to start with an alphabetic index, locate your key terms, start off with your alphabetic index, and then go from there. The confusing thing about ICD-10 is when it comes to when you have to add an X as a placeholder, or when you have to add whatever A, B, whatever little alpha character to the end of it to let them know the information that you need to get across, right? That's where all the confusion really comes in. So I want to start. One of the top pointers I can give you guys is to label these manuals. Oh. Okay. And again, I get these really cheap little plastic flag things, as y'all can see. And I just label all the different sections. Okay. With just an abbreviation of what that section is. And just like the CPT manual, each of the sections is broken up by body system. Okay, you've got your digestive, your respiratory. I think there's a section for eyes, a section for ears. And all the diagnoses that have to do with those body systems are going to be in that section. Okay, and I think there's like 21 different, what they call chapters. And each chapter is 1 to 2 body systems. Most of them are 1. Okay. Once you get into those chapters, they're going to be broken down into blocks. You're going to have, everybody's got their book. I know Miss Cassandra and maybe Miss Patricia, y'all may not have your book yet. But has everybody else got their book?
I have my book. I got it Monday.
Awesome. Awesome. Go to page.
I don't have my book by me because I'm out at work.
That's all right. That's all right. You can look back at this later and check on this. All right. Go to page 1253. Oh.
I'm sorry, what page was that?
1253. And once you're there, I want you to find the code SO2. It's in the column to the right, about halfway down. SO2, fracture of skull and facial bones. All right, so this is chapter 19, right? All right, you see, all right, is everybody there? All right, so you see that
Yes,
SO2?
ma'am.
Very good, thank y'all. The SO2 is your base code. It's going to be 1 alpha character and 2 digits, okay? That's your base code. Now, there are some instances in here where your base code is going to be your code because it doesn't indent down. It doesn't get any more specific than what it already is. But the majority of these are going to indent down and you're going to have subcategories, okay? Your SO2 is going to be your base code for this block. The fracture of skull and facial bones is called the block, all right? Like SO1 is going to be a block and it's going to indent down from there. SO2 is going to be a block, etc. Okay. And you'll see it has some notes and then the little box that gives you the A, B, D, G, K, and S. All right. And you see that little red stop sign there in front of the SO2? If you go down, look at the bottom pages of your book. And this thing spans both pages. It's not both on one side. Okay. There's this little kind of like a key. And it's going to give you all the little symbols some of the little additions, and basically all the little hints that you're going to need about the codes, like this little red stop sign. All right, that's going to be on your left-hand page down at the bottom. It says use additional characters. That's where that's telling you you're going to need to make this thing 7 characters long. Okay, your ICD-10 code is going to be anywhere from 3 characters. It'll be that base code, or it can extend out 7 characters. Okay, like look at, staying in SO2, look down where it indents down to SO2.10. Okay, unspecified fracture of base of skull. All right, now you see it indents down one more to SO2.101. Well, that's already 6 characters long, and it's telling us we need 7. So that means we're going to have to throw an X in there, right? Okay, and then you're going to have your A, B, letting them know if it was an initial encounter, or if it was open fracture or closed fracture, or initial counter or subsequent encounter. And there's also, you see on there, some for how it's healing, routine healing, delayed healing for feeling slow, and things like that. So that's where all the confusion really comes in with the ICD-10 codes, is figuring out how many characters that thing's got to be, because it can be anywhere from 3 to the 7. Okay, and it just all is about the code and how specific it is, what kind of information you have to go on. Okay, all right.
So when you're putting in the code, you have to make sure you're putting the letters A or B after the code.
Only if they're needed. Sometimes you have sections that don't need it. This particular one, they want to know if it's a closed fracture, an open fracture, or something like that. But not all sections need it. Sometimes you're going to have to put it to indicate what type of fracture, or how old. Some of them indicate how old the patient was, and different things. There's different parameters for the different codes, but it's all going to be right here in the book to let you know. And sometimes, like if you look something up in the alphabetic index and it brings you to one code, you may have to look back to the beginning of that block to get any specific instructions for using that code. Okay.
Because I came across where one time I was looking for a code, and then when you get to it, it say C condition.
Right.
Like, okay, the condition. That's when I get confused, like C condition.
I would need to see that. Next time you come across that one, make a note of it. So I can look at it specifically. I don't know any off the top of my head that say C condition to go to look at it. But the next time you see that, notate it for me.
All right.
But yeah, if one of these alpha characters at the end is needed, there's going to be a section at the beginning of the block telling you about it and what it's going to mean and which one you need to use. All right, so just like your CPT manual, you've got that alphabetic index, right? But this one is in the beginning of the book, this big, thick gray section up in the front. Okay, that's your alphabetic index, and it is huge. It is huge. I was trying to look up something really simple that we could look at, like fever. I thought that'd be something real simple that we could look at. There's about 1,000 different kinds of fever. So unless I'm going to get real specific with it, I'm not going to be able to just pick. I don't think I'm going to be able to just pick something else out for us to look at. But just like that CPT manual in the front, it's going to give you your guidelines for coding, that alphabetic index. You've also got another section of those anatomy illustrations that are super handy. Let's see. And there's also a guide in here to this year's updates. In the beginning of the book, it's going to list all the things that changed in the past year, all the revisions that they made. this is not something that y'all need to really pay a whole lot of attention to until you get into a specific field. Once y'all get to working and know what codes you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis and things like that, then you'll be keeping up with those updates. Okay. And it's not going to be once you get a new ICD-10 manual, you'll be getting in on the internet when the codes change and finding out as they change, because as soon as they change, you're going to file like you were last year, and the insurance company is going to come back and say, nope, that changed. Look into it. Okay. That's the way I found out about most of my updates and stuff, was I just kept on doing what I was doing till somebody told me, hey, that doesn't work anymore. Okay, let me see what changed. And I go and look into that year's updates. So those can be found in the beginning of the book. All right.
You know, another thing that confused me also, when sometimes a code will tell you to go and look in the neoplasm.
Yes, and I probably tell you why. In this book, one of the first sections is a table of neoplasms. And you use that in conjunction with your codes to get the right thing. We'll go more into detail that in the session too. I'll make sure to put some neoplasm examples in there so we can look at the table. I'm also going to do some stuff with medicine, because I don't know if y'all know, but one of the sections in this book is a table of drugs and chemicals. So we're going to have some examples having to do with medicine. We're going to have some examples having to do with neoplasms and how to nail down the right one with that. I'm going to give us a pretty good list of stuff to practice on this next one, on our next session.
Okay.
This one, it's kind of fly by, y'all, because things have just been crazy in my house. My husband's working nights right now, so my kid is home with me, and it's just me and her, and which makes it really hard to get anything done. But so your guidelines, your alphabetic index, and I think right after the alphabetic index is the table of neoplasms. And then it starts your chapters, 1 through, I believe, 21. And then at the very back, you have, if y'all look on some of the codes, they'll have in some of the little directions and explanations and things like that, you'll have something that says PDX collection. And this and that, and that is the last thing in the book. The codes that are included in which collections. And I will be honest with y'all, I'm going to do some more research on what these collections are all about, because it's not something that I've ever used. So I'm going to find out when they're used, and we'll go into more detail on that later. But you can find those in the back of the book for the time being. Yeah. Okay. All right, so just a few basic things. Sorry, y'all, that book is heavy, 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 heavy. Okay. All right, the ICD-10 is basically one continuous list that's broken up into different chapters. Okay, each chapter is a specific body system. And then each chapter also covers, the codes included in that chapter are going to be all of the same alphabet. There are a couple of chapters that include 2. Like I know the one we were just looking at, chapter 19, includes S codes and T codes. All right. But most of them are just going to be 1. Again, the chapters are divided into blocks that start with your base code, that 3-digit or 1 alpha 2-digit character. Your blocks are then divided into categories. And then your subcategories. They indent and then they indent down again. Some of them. Like I said, every now and then you'll find one that's going to stay at that base code because it's really specific. But most of them do not. Most of them indent down. All right. If there are, this is something I do want to mention too, and this is kind of like just a fast quick rule. If it indents down, the base code will not be correct. You'll never use just that base code. If there's an indentation, you're going to indent down. It's not going to be that base code. Okay. The only way it's going to be that base code is if there's nothing underneath it. All right. Let's talk about the X placeholder a little bit more. It's done. The reason they do this is to allow for the future expansion of codes and descriptions. As medicine advances, technology advances, things get more specific as we go on. And now we're getting to the point where we're coding things to be so specific that we're coding how these people are, not just the injury they have, but how they're sustaining this injury. Like, just as an example, and it's kind of funny, one of the codes that you can find in the book is a W22.02. And this is a code for somebody who has walked into a lamppost. Walked into a lamppost. We have a code for that. Y'all think they were texting while they were walking? Probably so. But that's just an example of how specific everything is. They're wanting to everything to be. Okay. So they know that eventually we are going to use all these characters. So for right now, when the code doesn't call for it, we're putting X's to build it out to that 7th spot if it needs to be. Okay. All right. That kind of ties into the 7th character. Some categories require the use of a 7th character. There will be a note in each category to help you select the right one. That's that little green box that we looked at with the A, B's, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. So I would like to give y'all a chance to label the books. I'm also going to be doing a handout that's going to have the questions that we're going to go over, the practice ones, so that y'all can either bring that up or print it out, write it out, whatever y'all want to do the practice stuff. But is there anything specific, like fairly specific about the ICD-10 manual labeling, how the categories, subcategories, any of that is set up? Anybody?
I used to have a problem trying to think of what I had to look up, but I guess as we did more of the CPT codes and you broke it down so we know really what to look at for in an example you would give us or a scenario.
Right.
And then by breaking it down and knowing which words to look for in the scenario when we did the CPT, now I know it's kind of like the same with the ICD-10, kind of look at which words in the scenario.
Exactly.
Then I just found out that the ICD-10, to know which code to look for, is more of the diagnosis that you're looking for and not the injury that really happened. Like sometimes, like you say, if a person came in with severe high blood pressure and something happened and then they end up have to have something they did with their heart, then they found out it was a acute aortic something. So the diagnosis was the acute, and you first thought it was the hypertension, the high
Right.
blood pressure, but that's how I end up getting to know what really codes to look for.
Right.
But I still have a little confusion though. Sometimes when they be telling me like, look at another condition, or I be thinking is that one, but it end up being another code.
Absolutely. And it's like that sometimes. And that's why you got to read over that scenario and really kind of pick it apart, and it's not, I cannot stress to y'all enough that the course and the book, they make it seem a lot harder than what it is on the job. There are coders out there who never even use these manuals. because they work in a clinic or a doctor's office that's so specific that they have a form that their nurse or whoever fills out and then gives to the coder, and it has checked off what symptoms. It has the super bill has all the symptoms or conditions or whatever that their patients normally have, and the medical staff checks it off for you, and then it's done. All you have to do is enter it in. So don't think that if you get a job in coding that this is necessarily what you're going to be doing all day, is digging in these manuals, because that's not the case. That's not the case. And then, like I said, once you get into that job, the more familiar with it you get, the less you'll have to refer to these manuals, because you'll know what you're dealing with. Okay, as time goes by.
Okay.
But yes, specificity is the name of the game on the ICD-10 codes. It's all about those indents, using that bottom key to know what you need to do with that code. Okay. All right. So is everybody pretty good on how it's set up as far as the chapters and the blocks and the subcategories and all that good stuff? We good on that?
I
Awesome.
understand it now.
Yeah, Miss Patricia, you and Miss Cassandra, I think, are our newest ones on right now. And I think y'all, Miss Patricia doesn't even have her books yet. Y'all have all been through that. You know how frustrating it is that first week and a half when you feel like you drowning. You look at everything and everything looks Greek and you feel like you drowning. But it does get better, Miss Patricia, I promise. Some of these ladies have been with me for several months now, and they've got a really good handle on things. But I think I'm gonna do these CPT and ICD-10 workshops probably on a monthly basis, just so we can get that practice in, y'all, and just for the new people, because every week we have new students joining our course. So I think at least once a month, we're going to do CPT workshops and ICD-10 workshops, just so they can get that foundation in and that little bit of extra practice. And are y'all agreeing with me that the more y'all do this stuff, the more used to it you're getting, and the more it clicks a little bit as time goes by? Good.
Wouldn't it be better if we were to start with the CPT first? Because I'm still lost in this.
Yeah,
Right.
and we actually did a CPT workshop last Monday. And that is recorded on the virtual meetings page. But
Okay.
I will do another one in the next couple of weeks, Cassandra.
Okay, because I'm still lost right here. I'm like, oh, I've been using Google to look up stuff, so
I gotcha. I understand. And we're working, the online instructors are trying to work with the administration to see if there's a way that we can get y'all, once y'all have that active status that first day, if we can overnight y'all the books that that next day. That would be so much easier for y'all, we know. So we're trying to work on that. Just right now, unfortunately, the system kind of is what it is, and we just got to do the best we can. Hence the workshops. They are not mandatory, but everybody who comes, I do give extra credit to, just for putting in
I
that.
just thank you for working with us.
Oh, look, that's what I'm here for. That's my job.
But not all professors actually work with you, That's kind
Yes,
of
that's
the
why I
reason
said
why
that.
I actually stopped going and then came
Yes,
back. Like you actually make me want to keep going because
yes,
I can
Good.
email you or text you and you'll explain it to me within that same
yes.
day. Like when I went to Southern and I was on campus, it was just like I was just so lost. Like even just sitting in the classroom. So like
Yeah.
it really helped.
I did
Yeah,
the
because
same
I
thing.
probably would have gave up right about now, but I'm like, no, because she's gonna help me, and she said if I need one-on-one, she's willing. So,
That's it.
yeah, I'm telling you, you keep doing what you're doing. For real.
Thank you so much. We try. Unitech, y'all. I love working for this company. They're a down home Louisiana company. I don't know if y'all knew that, but they're a down home Louisiana company, and they're trying to, like, I started out my college education at UL. I finished my degree, my bachelor's degree, online at the University of Phoenix. So I've been to a traditional campus, and I've been through online learning. And I'll tell y'all what, when I finished my last 10 hours for my bachelor's degree, my last 2 or 3 classes strictly online. I couldn't tell you what that professor's name was or what he looked like, or if it was even a he or a she. I could not tell you because I never saw that person. I never had any interaction with that person other than email, you know.
That's not good.
No, it leaves you, and especially with stuff like this, you got to have somebody who's looked at this before to tell you what you're looking at. You know, if you've never looked at this before and you're just trying to read off of a page and figure this out, we're not doctors. We don't have medical degrees. We're not going to understand all this terminology, but we don't need that to be successful here. We don't. So
Yes, that's me. I feel like I'm just what's going on? What else supposed to
Yeah,
do?
that's how I feel. I'm like, you want me to do what with what?
Exactly. But we'll get there. And again, like I said, we did the CPT workshop last Monday, and that is recorded on the virtual meetings page. So definitely y'all go check that out. I would even wait until you get your book. Wait until you get your book in, and that way you can kind of open to those pages and see what I'm talking about and stuff like that. But so y'all are generally the group that shows up for Zoom. So when do y'all want to do session 2? We can talk about it now and y'all can decide when's the best time for y'all.
Times like this, like I done been settled down and, you know, came from work and they put my daughter down and stuff like that. So like times like this, you know.
Okay.
Yes, because my kids could be bad, settle down, ate and everything. Yeah, I like this time.
I'm usually
Okay.
pretty open.
So let's I don't want to take up anybody's Friday night, but so let's say maybe 7:30 Thursday evening.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, like I said, I highly advise y'all to label your books, do your chapters. I think I'm just gonna create a whole workshop page where I can post the videos and the handouts and everything right there together. Okay, so y'all be on the lookout for that. There'll be a page added on that left-hand menu, and it'll be our coding workshops page, and we'll do that.
So when you say label, we just go through the book and read the title and just label it like that. That's how you want us to do it.
That's basically what I did. I know some people do it because they are labeled as chapters like 1 through 21. You can do it like that. I like to put a little something on the label so I know what I'm looking at. So I just did like abbreviations. Let me see if I can show it to you.
Did you use like sticky notes or did you go and get the little tabs?
Actually, the little Post-it tabs.
Okay, yeah.
What's awesome about these, y'all, is that they're not stuck on the page. It's not gonna rip your page. You can actually, if you misstick it, you can take it up and then put it back down. But I think they're called Post-it flags, and they're cheap. They're like maybe $3 or $4 a pack. Something like
they're
that.
Dollar General.
Yeah, and you can write on them with either a ballpoint pen or a Sharpie, something like that. And then that also, y'all, just in the process of labeling these sections, will get y'all start getting y'all familiar with the books. Start getting y'all familiar to where what's located. Okay. And that's key. That's key. Like I say, it's not Miss Cassandra and Miss Patricia, y'all will hear me say over and over again, it's not about memorizing codes. It's not. You don't memorize codes because they change yearly. They're updated all the time. It's about learning where in the manuals to find the information you need. That's it. So that's why everybody freaks out. How am I going to remember all these codes? You're not. That's impossible.
Yeah, I have a friend that does this, and she said she still use Google in her book, like
Absolutely.
literally.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, then that is all I've got for y'all tonight. I hear my daughter screaming bloody murder back there. So I am going to run, but I hope that kind of helped clarify a little bit on the indentions and how that's set up. And then again, Thursday at 7:30, we'll do some practice and start really digging into it, okay? All right, folks.
Okay.
Monday, Thursday, and 7:30. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday around 7:30 Thursday. I'm gonna be out of town, but I really want to participate. I
Wednesday's
know.
tomorrow. I'm not gonna
I
have
know.
time to get it.
Oh, you talking
put
about this
together for everybody.
Thursday? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about doing another section next week. Oh yeah, we could do it this Thursday. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, folks.
Mm.
Well, y'all have a blessed evening. Thank y'all for the positive feedback. That means the world to me. I'm glad I'm helping y'all.
Yes.
Wait, we having a test this Thursday?
I think chapter 17 test is either this Thursday or Friday. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think our regular weekly Zoom is tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Afternoon. Yeah. And then Thursday would be the exam. Yeah, that's correct. That is correct.
And I was telling you about the worksheet. It's not
there yet. I'll get it posted tonight. I'll get it on there tonight. You are always a day or two ahead of everybody else, girl.
I be trying
You're
because
ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game. Always. So
if I get behind, it's gonna really mess me up.
yeah, y'all, if I forget something, Precious has got me covered. Precious has got me covered. So. But yeah, I'll get that posted on there tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'll start building that coding workshop page for us. And I'll set up, I'll post the invitation for Thursday night Zoom in the news and announcements.
Okay.
All right, ladies. Well, if that's it, y'all have a blessed evening, and I'll talk to y'all Thursday or tomorrow at the Zoom tomorrow.
You too.
You too.
You have a blessed night.
Y'all have a good night, ladies.
Have a good one,
Bye.
everybody.
Y'all have a good night, y'all.